It ain't too many things that shock me in the world of boxing today, but I ain't gonna lie to y'all, this one got me. The all-time Al Heyman hater, Rick Glaser, has been working for Gervonta Davis and his team all along, and now Tank is coming out threatening to fire Rick Glaser for leaking his new opponent and other information going on in the camp. We're going to talk about all of this, but before we do that, make sure that you hit my like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's cook. Man, it's been a lot going on. So we know Rick Glaser is known as the ultimate PBC Al Heyman hater. Every day, he makes sure that he wakes up and he got to get on Twitter and he does everything that he can to tear down Al Heyman's Showtime in the PBC. He's been doing it for years. He hates Al Heyman. And anybody that knows Rick Glaser knows that. Rick Glaser will tell you that himself. He also hates Steven Espinoza. He hates anybody that has anything to do with the PBC. He not only hates on the suits, he hates on the fighters as well. Anytime a PBC event is put together and they have a pay-per-view, Rick Glaser is the first one that comes out with these astronomically low pay-per-view numbers and claim that they flop. If you ask Rick Glaser, PBC and Showtime, they've never had a successful event besides Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. We also know that Rick Glaser and Leonard Ellaby, they've got into it several times. For Rick Glaser coming out, hating on Gervonta Davis's pay-per-view numbers, claiming that they did way less than Showtime claimed they did, right? Now, I remember not too long ago when Gervonta Davis fought Hector Luis Garcia. Rick Glaser, of course, was the first one that came out claiming that the event flopped, it did horrible numbers, and he actually claimed that it only did 50K pay-per-view buys. Now, Leonard Ellaby, he ain't like that shit. Leonard Ellaby was the first one to jump on Twitter talking about that Rick Glaser didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Rick Glaser has no business dealings with the PBC. He don't know what goes on, and he don't have no way of getting the PBC's pay-per-view numbers. It sounds familiar, right? Because recently, Leonard Ellaby, he came out and he claimed that Devin Haney and Regis Prograis only did 50K pay-per-view buys. And this time, it was Bill Haney going at Leonard Ellaby, telling Leonard Ellaby the same thing that he told Rick Glaser when it came to Gervonta Davis's pay-per-view buys, that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He has no business dealing with DAZN, and he has no way of getting DAZN's pay-per-view numbers. Well, Ellaby got those same 50K numbers from guess who? Yeah, you guessed right, from Rick Glaser. Rick Glaser is the one that put out the 50K pay-per-view buy numbers for Devin Haney's fight, just like he did when Gervonta Davis fought Hector Luis Garcia. You ask yourself, why would Leonard Ellaby come out and quote Rick Glaser's numbers? Because Leonard Ellaby and Rick Glaser, they don't F with each other at all, right? And Ellaby has got into it with Rick Glaser for doing the same thing to Gervonta Davis, his fighter. Well, after Gervonta Davis opened up his mouth on Twitter and let some shit slip out, it's a whole plot twist to this situation. Rick Glaser just might be working for Gervonta and his team. I don't know how long. I don't know if he's been working with him all along. But as soon as Rick Glaser got on Twitter claiming to not only know who Gervonta Davis's next opponent is, he also claimed to know other things that was going on inside Gervonta Davis's camp that Tank wasn't cool with. Well, this is what Rick had to say, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to let y'all know what Tank had to say. Look at this. I'm going to read it to y'all, and let's cook on it. So Glaser, he says, being told by a very reliable source, Tank Davis doesn't want to get back in the ring for what's being offered by Al Heyman after making the big windfall versus Ryan Garcia. Sounds like another fighter that bases their value off of one fight. But that one fight was a total anomaly. That's boxing in this era. Now after that, a fan comes under Rick Glaser's comment and he asks, how do you know this? He says, when you hear it from the man's mouth himself. So Rick Glaser claimed to be on a call in hearing all of these things from Gervonta Davis out of his own mouth. Now, after that, someone else comes and they ask Rick Glaser, does he have any idea who Gervonta Davis is fighting next? And he says, Gervonta Davis is fighting Pitbull Cruz next. Now, before some of y'all feminine ass dudes get to crying and stuff at me, I'm just telling y'all the information. I'm not telling y'all these things are the facts. I'm telling y'all what was said. So stop the crying bullshit right now. Y'all know who I'm talking to. Now, Tank got a wind of all of that, and Tank sounded like he was furious because Gervonta Davis's response was, you won't be with us too much longer. I'm not even gonna feed into your BS. Clock ticking, buddy. Make the best of it instead of tweeting. Once again, let me read that for y'all one more time. He says, you won't be with us too much longer. I'm not even gonna feed into your BS. Clock ticking, buddy. Make the best of it instead of tweeting. And he adds Rick Glaser. So he tell y'all right now, he let the cat out the bag before he hurry up and erased it. So Rick Glaser is with them in some type of way. Gervonta Davis said it. I didn't say it. So once again, quit bitching and crying. This is what Tank said. Then he erased it. Now, it's a whole lot to go over because I usually don't believe shit that Rick Glaser says, right? But Tank Davis ain't denied nothing that Rick had to say. He also confirmed that Rick Glaser is working for him in some type of way. He says us. So it's a whole lot of questions to be answered. Is Rick Glaser telling the truth with what he said that Gervonta Davis is pissed off about the money that he's being offered in his next fight? And is he telling the truth that he already knows who he's fighting next, and that's a rematch with Pitbull Cruz? Now, we all heard the Pitbull Cruz stuff because it ain't no secret. Like, once again, Calvin Ford was vocal about pushing the Pitbull Cruz fight. You even heard Leonard Ellaby about Gervonta Davis fight Pitbull Cruz next. So his whole team wants him to fight Pitbull Cruz next. But I also heard that Gervonta Davis, he don't want to fight Pitbull Cruz. I also know that Rick Glaser come out with a lot of BS when it comes to Al Haymon and the PBC because he hates on them, right? And he hates on all of the fighters that's with Al Haymon and the PBC. Now, what really shocked me, nobody could have made me believe that Rick Glaser was working with Gervonta Davis. Now, in what way is Gervonta Davis and Rick Glaser working together? Because he said, you won't be with us too much longer. Enjoy while it lasts, buddy. So I'm asking myself, did they holler at Rick Glaser to get the numbers for Devin Haney fight so they could post that? Tell y'all that Devin don't deserve a fight with us, and if he does, we have a right to lowball him because he only did 50K pay-per-view buys? I'm just throwing something out there. That's a question. Because how is Rick Glaser all of a sudden working for them? Also, the way that Gervonta Davis responded to what Rick Glaser had to say in regards to Tank Davis giving a whole bunch of pushback because he's pissed off about the money they offering him in his next fight, he ain't deny it. And the way that he responded let me know that he was basically saying, hey, all right, you gonna learn when to shut your effing mouth and stop leaking information that's coming from my team, because you will no longer be with us because you continue to do things like this. This is crazy, y'all. Like I said, all I know is the information that was said back and forth between Rick Glaser and Gervonta Davis. I'm going to let y'all decide what y'all want to think about this whole situation. Matter of fact, drop a comment in my comment section and let me know what y'all think about this whole saga that's going on. Make sure that you hit my like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subbed. And yeah, I want to hear from y'all. Y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. And I'm gone.
Take a bath before you put your ass on them seats. Ride, ride.